Oh my goodness. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to The Hustle today, right here, coming to you from WLVS right here in Washington, D.C. We have such a great show today. I'm so excited because I am kicking off Black History Month. Yes, Black History Month today with some awesome guests. I'm celebrating Black History Month all kinds of different ways this whole entire month. So every Tuesday, it's going to be something like really different. So what I decided was to celebrate Black History Month, celebrating women, in particular women in sports, and even in particular more than that is women who cover sports, sports reporters, people who are in the trenches with men covering sports in such a diverse way, whether it's radio, TV, internet, everything and everything. So we're celebrating women today, and I'm so excited about having these two friends of mine that have become my friends on the show today for The Hustle because they're in the trenches with me. So I couldn't, I saw them the other day, and I've seen them around a few times, and I was like, you know what? They're so sweet. They're so cute. And I need to have them and feature them on my show. And just because, we were kind of hanging out at the Capital City Go-Go the other night, and I've seen them at the Wizards. So I definitely had to have them on my show. But I know that there's a lot of people who say to me, okay, Alina, who I said that I was going to do something on Black History Month. And they were saying to me, well, you're Black. I mean, Black history is like every day. And so this is what I have to say about that. We can't, yes, although that is true, we are Black and we do live Black History Month every day. The one thing we can't forget is to remind people that we are Black and that we live that every day. And that's what I tell people all the time, is that we can't ever forget our legacy, and to remind people every time we get an opportunity to. So if that means that I dedicate my show for an entire month to African Americans that are doing great things in our community, that have their hustle on, that are doing, working hard, achieving, and creating and participating in what Dr. Martin Luther King's vision was for this country, which was to have a beloved nation, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm committed to doing that. So, and I can't ever let the images of slavery or the fact that, 4 million or so people were enslaved prior to me even coming to being in this country. My family is from Cape Verde Islands, but that was a slave port. Just to let people know, my family does come from the west coast of Africa, and that was a slave port as well. So, so I can't ever let that forget. And sometimes to remind people that the cost of a female, might have been, as low as maybe $50, back then, or $1,000, depending upon what you could afford. So each and every chance I get to remind people about the struggles, the sacrifices that people who were in this country long before us went through so that we can have freedom, so that we can have opportunity. so that we can uplift our communities, then I will do that each and every time. And if I got it, and if I can only do it 1 month, that's fine. I'm committed to doing it because it's all about reminders. And every chance you get, we need to remind people of what the struggle was like for us. So happy Black History Month from The Hustle. And so I'm gonna look. I have some great guests here. And so we're going to kick it off with one of them. But we have Jasmine Brown is en route. Okay, she just got caught up in a little bit of traffic. My co-host is caught up in a little traffic. But I have someone really, really cute and adorable here who works with WKYS, with the Angie Ann Show. She's the digital producer, which means that she has to go out and cover sports. That's under her domain. And she's someone who's working in the trenches with me. So I'm going to bring her up in a few minutes too. So we're going to take a break, and then we will be back with The Hustle right here across from Howard University. Yes. Also, Jasmine Brown, she is from the Roundball Report. She's also in the trenches with us covering sports, in particular me. So it'll be fun to also bring her up as well when we return from break. But I'm right here in our nation's capital across from my old stomping ground, my old school. What can I say? Howard University. Yes, in the house right here across the street right there. So, hey, WLVS Studio, don't forget, join me each and every Tuesday, 6 p.m. ListenVisionLive.com at WLVS Radio. I'll be back in 2 seconds, okay? Don't go anywhere.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Hustle.
And I have, as I told you, some wonderful guests with me, some incredible sports reporters that are in the trenches with me. And to my left, yes, she's a cutie, right? It's Brianna Holmes. Brianna works with Angie Ann's show. She's the digital producer there at WKYS. So I'm real excited to have her. We're going to talk all about it. And talk about, when Angie was an intern when I was working at I'm just playing. No, Angie is a sweetheart, though. I remember. Yes, I mean, Angie was a real sweetheart, and she's always so sweet when I see her. And she's doing well. I'm so proud of her. She's come a long way, too. She's done well. Yes, so I'm excited about her. And then to my right, yes, Jasmine, you got here out of traffic. You fine, right?
Yeah, I made it. Finally made it.
Yes, this is Jasmine Brown. She works with the Roundball Report. So I see her sometimes when I go and commentate for the show over there at Roundball Report. She's always so sweet. She's a sports reporter, too. She's in the trenches with us. So we're going to talk about that and talk about what some of the experience is like being out there, as well as sports reporters. And then we're actually going to talk about some sports too, because a lot of things happen over the weekend. In particular, breaking news today. So we're going to get into all of that. But before we get into all that, I want them to kind of introduce themselves and just talk about what they do, and to talk about sports and the industry and things like that. So go ahead. So who wants to start first?
Okay,
you want to start, Brianna? Go ahead.
So again, yes, my name is Brianna, and this is my first year professionally covering sports.
Really?
NBA, yes. I actually got into it my senior year in college. I went to the Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina. So my senior year, I really got into it. I've been wanting to do it for so long. I recently began working with WKYS, and I pitched them. I said, can I please cover the Wizards games as well? And of course, this is the inaugural season of Capital City Go-Go, so that kind of went hand in hand. And
look at you. Yeah. So you carved yourself a little opportunity.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the past, I've tried to apply to different sports places and didn't really get the opportunity. And so when I had this job set up, I was like, you got to make it the opportunity for yourself. And so
you know what? Let me tell you, it's so true. A lot of people don't realize this, but I knew the GM at WPGC, and I went to him and I said, can I do something on your internet? Because they weren't going to let me do anything else. So he said, you know what? I'm looking for show ideas. So I said, can I submit a proposal? And he said, yeah, okay, I'll let you submit one. I said, okay. And I just happened to be working with them in another capacity as more like a client. So he let me submit a proposal, and that's how I came out with my show. And then he said to me, I'm not going to pay you the first time. You go out, you shoot the show, and you show me exactly what it is that you want to do. I said, okay. So I called up some photographers. Can you shoot this for me? Can you shoot this for me? And it was a big deal. And we covered Neo at having like some audition down at Palladium in DC. And we made it into American Idol, because American Idol was on TV back then. And so that's how, WPGC didn't even have a website back then, okay? They did not even have a media player back then, okay? Because we're talking 2007, 2008. And so he said to me, go out, do it. We'll upload it to YouTube, and then we'll promote it. And Donnie and Big Tigger and everybody promoted it, and it ended up getting like thousands of hits on YouTube, and that's how I got the job. Otherwise, I would not have gotten the job. So that's really big, and that goes hand in hand with the hustle, because that's what you got to do sometimes to carve out an opportunity for yourself, is to go out and create something of your own and present it to the station. And sometimes that's the way that you get your foot in the door, because otherwise you're just 50,000 other applicants. You know what I'm saying? So Jasmine, tell me about you. Tell everybody about you and about all that you do.
Yeah, so currently I cover Maryland women's basketball, and I cover the Mystics. And I did the same thing. I actually started my own sports website 3 years ago.
Which is?
Through the Pen Sports.
Oh, what is it called?
Through the Pen Sports.
Through the Pen
Yes.
Sports. Oh,
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes,
You started that 3 years ago.
I started it 3 years ago, and I wasn't getting opportunities, so I just started it up, and I pitched the PR person to the Mystics, and she accepted it. And I did the same to the Capital City Go-Go.
What?
Yes.
Whoa! Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is.
I wanted to cover sports, and I knew from maybe 2019, I knew that I wanted to cover sports, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do anything I can to get my foot in the door.
And that's what it took for you to create even your own website.
Yes.
And then you pitched it. You not only created it, but then you took it to the powers that be at these different sports, at the professional sports level. You pitched it to them to see if you could actually come out, cover their events, and develop a business relationship with them. That's wonderful. That's excellent. That's what it takes. See, that's what's called the hustle. And even though we can sit up here and we can talk about sports, I also really try to incorporate people's journey into my show, because there's always a journey to how people became successful or how they're making it. There's always a journey behind that. And I never want to tell people that, oh, you can just go out and get something. No, you got to go out and create something.
Yes.
You have to go out and create something, so all right, so without further ado, everybody got more acquainted. Guys, I'm just happy that you guys came out to do my show.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And I didn't even know all this about you guys. I knew that you worked for Roundball, and I knew you worked for WKYS, but I didn't even know about the real hustle that it took to get to where you guys are right now. And that's something special, and I take my hat off to you guys. Much respect. See, that's why it's so important to observe people and what they do. I mean, it's so important because, especially African American female sports reporters, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Speak about what it's been like for you guys, just in terms of even trying to get the story at the story. At the Wizards or at the Go-Go. I mean, sometimes it's like you're not really looked at like, do you know what you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. I would say especially for Capital City, that's the team that both Jasmine and I cover, it's a little easier because it is so fresh and it is so new, and there aren't as many media people there. Right. And so they're understanding that we're all kind of doing this for the first time together. So it's not like looking at you crazy if you ask like an outrageous question or something, it's kind of like, okay, it's all right. We're all in this together. The Wizards, my first timing in the locker room there, it was like, you see it on TV, and from the outside, from the outside it's like, okay, they're just asking questions, but it's a lot of pressure in there, and there's so many people. Like, you can't really see everybody that's in there, and everybody has their own assignment, their own agenda, their own story that they're working on, and so it's like you have to be quick, you have to be loud, you have to be able to communicate what you want to say, and you have to think while you're listening at the same time, so you're not repeating the same question. There's a lot of professionals in there that have been doing it for years and decades. And
a lot of sports reporters.
Yes, and then also there's not a lot of women. And then there are, like, with the Wizards, the main woman is Candace. Her. She's amazing. And so she's going to be on it. So it's like for someone else to come behind her, it's like you got to make sure that you are with it too. And so, but she's a great person. She's given me a lot of advice as well.
She has?
Yes.
Oh,
she's
good.
been a great
Candace Buckner. She's
for the Washington Post.
The Washington Post,
So, I mean, it's a great experience, but it is harder than what it looks.
It is. And it's also, I'll let you speak about it, but it's also much more intimidating than it looks. A lot of people don't realize that, because when I first went to cover them, I was writing, and I started out with sportsjourney.com, and I was writing, and I wrote an entire season. That was the hardest thing. I had a column with them, and I was writing at 3:00 in the morning. I was writing at 4 a.m. in the morning. And then I had also my clients, my other business, my training business. So sometimes I have to be at wherever I needed to be at like 6 a.m., but I was writing at 4 a.m. I was exhausted. And I said to myself, oh my God, I can't do this. So when I see her, it's one thing to do TV and to get up there and just talk about it extemporaneously. That comes with, some level of preparedness. But that's another level to write about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead, Jasmine. So tell me about your experience when you went into the stadium for the first time and started covering the Wizards, the Mystics.
Yeah.
Go.
I haven't covered the Wizards just yet, but I've been covering the Mystics. But going into the Capital One, I was like, wow, because I did start there covering Georgetown basketball.
Okay, Georgetown. Okay.
Just actually covering a professional sports league, I was just like, wow. And then going in there interviewing, some athletes are cool, but then my first athlete I stumbled across was Christy Tolliver, and I mean she's won at every single level, so it's just like, what do I ask her?
I know. What do you ask her? You're like, these people are such champions, right?
And it's like when I interviewed Elena Deladon, easy.
Yeah.
Everybody every time it came to her. Always stumbling across my question.
Really?
Every time. She was the main one. And then Gogo, because of the interview experiences I've had, I know I had to interview the Maryland volleyball about 5 years ago, and I was one-on-one. I was the only one in there. And
wow. Yeah.
That helped, and I kept interviewing over the years, and that's why now with the Go-Go, which is my first professional men's team.
Okay.
It made it actually more easier for me to ask questions.
To ask questions.
Yeah. So I've kind of gotten stronger. I got to work on my my filler words, but I think I kind of talked through getting my questions out.
Yeah. Right. But I think you're ready for John Wall now. No. And the only reason why I say that is because when I first went to cover the Wizards, they're just some athletes that give you the heebie-jeebies. I'm sorry. They just do. And John Wall is one.
He gives them to you?
He gives me the heebie-jeebies because he'll be like this.
That's how his Tolliver is.
He comes off like he's not interested in your questions. Like, he's like. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm not asking him any questions at first.
I talked to him after a game one day, and I asked him that because it was after a win, and I was like, sir, I was like, do you always act like this after y'all win? And he was like, man, I played like, he's like, I played terrible, and that's why he was like this. And he told me, he said, one thing you'll learn about me is that I'm very hard on myself. And that, I think that's the main thing, like, with him is that it doesn't matter if they won, if they lost, or whatever. Like, if he played bad, he's like, it wasn't a good game.
It wasn't a good game.
He's happy for everybody else, but in his mind, he's like, it wasn't a good game. And so I think
that's interesting.
Yeah, that changes the mood of how it is post game.
Yeah.
But if he feels like he played good, then I think that he's fine,
right. Well, when is that? I mean, if he ain't feeling like he plays good when they win, good grief. Exactly. That might be once a year. That he gives himself, okay, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I scored 40-something points. Well, the last time you did that was the Lakers against the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and he may not have a game like that. Well, now he can't, but I'm just saying.
Until 2020.
Right? Or 2021. But we get into that in a minute. So, okay, so let's get into it a little bit. Let's talk about the actual breaking news today. Everyone knows, I'm sure, most people have heard that John Wall, unfortunately, we already knew that he had surgery for bone spurs, to remove bone spurs off of his left heel. And so he was recovering from that. And I think, were you there a few weeks ago when we saw him in a boot? He's been walking in like a big boot. And we've seen him at the stadium in this big boot. Well, he must have had some sort of accident or something at his house. and he fell, and now he ruptured his Achilles tendon in that fall. The original bone spur surgery was to prevent an Achilles tendon rupture, which ended up happening anyway. But that really, I mean, it was to remove the bone spurs, but it was also to prevent any further damage. And obviously now his 3 seasons are in question. We know that it could take him maybe 2 seasons to get back, and it could very well be he misses the 27, 28, and 29 years, those 3 years in his professional life with his age, and he might not come back till he's like 30, which is prime in the NBA. So what do you guys, what's the word regarding that? What do you guys feel about, what do you think this blow was like for the Wizards today, Jasmine?
I mean,
I know you don't really cover the Wizards, but you know that from
I follow them. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this year, people's expectations were high to start off, but then as season went on, it's kind of like probably expected it. You know, at this point, you know, John Wall hasn't really been healthy, and I think for years, people have been trying to find some type of oomph in them to try to say John Wall's the greatest, and you know this is right. You know, the Wizards are John Wall, but you know at this point in the season, it's just like you might have to kind of get used to it and kind of accept the fact that he might not be it. You know. Yeah. And everybody thought, you know, since Game 6, that Game 6, you know, we thought they were there. You know, next season's gonna be, you know, great, but then it just didn't work out, and you just might have to accept that. Right,
yeah. So what do you think happens to Thomas Satoransky, Jason Randall from the Capital City Go-Go? I mean, how does this carve out opportunities for them? What do you think about that, Brianna?
Well, they're definitely trying to lock down Sato. They want to make sure that
he doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that he's coming back because, you know, they don't want to lose another point guard. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, because his how he slipped and fell was he was trying to get in the shower, which is just like, that's something we all do every, you know, that's something he has to do. He's got to bathe himself. So it's like, it wasn't even like he was doing anything that was outrageous. It was just an everyday thing.
Yes.
And who knows what happened. Missed the step. I don't know. But that's what ended up now putting an extra year on his break or his timeout. Yeah. But yeah, I was on the phone call earlier today with the doctor, and he was saying how he's not like on bed rest right now, but basically he's done all the damage. Like, I don't think there's a way that he can like damage himself anymore.
Right.
But so he's not really like on bed rest or anything like that. But they still don't know when the actual surgery is going to be. That's to be determined still and everything. But
right. And so they basically say that he's going to be out for a year from when he has this surgery, which they don't know.
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying?
Okay. From the surgeries, 11 to 15 months. So, yeah, over a year. So possibly.
Before he can even run.
Right.
Never mind play basketball. Right. We're talking about just to get on his feet and get back to running.
Right. Yeah.
That's what a lot of people feel like, you know, okay, maybe in like a year from now he'll be like shooting hoops. No.
But then a lot of people are comparing him to DeMarcus Cousins too, because they have, I think, similar injuries, and DeMarcus has been able to come back. And so hopefully, as long as John stays committed and he stays focused and he doesn't do any, you know, extra activities, then he'll be able to recover fast. And the main thing that people are worried about is his speed, because that's the biggest, you know, advantage of having John Wall on your team is his speed. And already he's been slower, and so they're afraid, you know, coming back from another surgery, that's gonna deduct from his speed again.
Right. And you know, DeMarcus Cousins is John Wall's former teammate at Kentucky. So they go way back. They're very close. But, you know, a lot of people don't realize, just like you said, his injury John Wall, an Achilles tendon injury would be significantly different than it would be on DeMarcus Cousins, simply because DeMarcus Cousins does not have to run up and down the court in the way that John Wall does. John Wall has the ball in his hand. He's got to get that ball he's got to go coast to coast all the time. And he also got to drive the basket too sometimes. So that injury can take a huge toll on a player of John Wall's style, and the fact that he is so hard. You know what I mean? His speed.
Yeah, and John is someone who basically throws his body out on the court. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, he's just, I mean, he cares, but he's just like, no, I'm going to sacrifice my body for this game.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's, taken him in this direction, kind of. And
he's hurt. I mean, think about it, though. If you think about all the injuries he's had, he's had a lot. I mean, we go back to what, the wrist? It was the wrist
hand,
in the playoffs, I believe. He broke his
with
wrist.
Atlanta,
Yeah. And then he had knee issues. He's had some treatments to his knees for a few seasons, and then now we're having bone spurs and we're having Achilles tendon issues.
And he's been dealing with this since like the beginning of the season. I remember, I think back in November, he was saying that somebody like stepped on his foot the wrong way, and he was feeling sore. And then he had to sit out for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. And then he, there was another time I talked to him, and then he was saying that he was something happened in the game. Somebody stepped on his foot, and then he sat out, but then he went back in the game again. And I asked him afterwards, I'm like, so are you playing, like, how are you still like hurt? And he went out and still played. And he, I asked him if he was playing off of adrenaline, and he was just saying like, if it isn't broke, then I'm gonna still play. And it's like,
wow. No, I understand that mentality.
I understand it.
That's a champion. I mean, he is a champion though. I mean, he's a champion in his mind and stuff, and he is. And I feel bad for that team, because they started out, and remember Media Day. Media Day was what?
So hopeful.
Right? And bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Media Day, right?
Yes,
right? I mean, it was like Dwight Howard was singing. He was singing, what was that song? Oh my goodness.
I know, Best Life. I'm living my best life.
Living my best life. I mean, and I even said to him, I said, "Oh, you're living your best." Yeah, you ever heard of the song? Yeah, no, I know that song. Real well, Dwight.
Yeah, who knows? Like, I mean, Dwight, who knows where? It's like
but no one knew that he would be injured. Markieff Morris would be injured. Otto Porter, of course, Otto gets injured a lot every year, but he was injured. And then John Wall, and and then the trades, the trades, Otto Oubre, so, and I think that's, Ariza has definitely helped the team drastically. In a lot of ways, he's really helped. And then also, who else? I was going to mention something else about the Wizards. I just, it's just kind of sad. I mean, because think about it. They pretty much have given him so much money. They have so much money tied up in John Wall. I feel bad for the organization because they really can't do that much.
And they have all the fans are tied up in him too. I mean, majority, like, in the community, like, most of us are rooting for John. Like, we want to see him succeed. We want to see this team go to the championship. We believe in him. Yeah. And it just sucks, It's just like, nobody ever thought this would happen, because it's like the first time it's like, dang, okay, he's out for the season. It's like, all right, we'll start again next year. But then it's like now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's.
Yeah, and and the Wizards, they always around this time found a way to bounce back. They will always start off, crazy statistic. The Wizards never gone to the playoffs after having this record, and then they bounce back, but it just hasn't happened. It's very disappointing.
Yeah,
it's very disappointing. It's like they hit that where they're supposed to hit, and then it's not there. It's like.
Exactly. Hey guys, I just want to bring in Mr. Stones over here to my right. He is in the trenches with us. You know, he's our co-host on the show. What's going on? Do we have him on camera anywhere? Yeah. So what's going on, Lawrence? How was traffic? You got here late too. Everybody got here late.
Except for me.
Except for Brianna.
I was on time for
Brianna was
once
on
in my life. I'm usually always late, but I was on time.
Usually I'm on time.
I know. What's going on?
I just hate DC traffic. I don't know. I like DC. I don't like the traffic.
I like DC on a day-to-day when it's like 70 degrees outside.
Well, when I'm walking, I like DC.
Right.
Parked
Yeah.
at the meter. I'm not sure that the parking meter I parked at works, so hopefully my car will still be there by the time I.
Yeah. So Lawrence, how do you feel about this recent breaking news of John Wall? How do you feel about the Wizards now?
I don't know what to feel. I was already on a download with the Wizards when I heard it, and because I'm not. It sounds like to me that I hate to say it, but it sounds like kind of the second coming of Derrick Rose, where you have a player that just can't stay healthy, and to the point where it's affecting his career and his play. But
except he's a little bit different than Derrick Rose in terms of that $40 million guarantee for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Woo,
And Derrick Rose came in. He made a nice comeback this season, though.
He did.
He did.
He did.
There's
And
still
he's
hope.
been on.
There's
He's been
still
on
hope.
the comeback.
Yeah,
he's been on the
rise.
comeback.
well, if you can say that, yeah, I guess.
No, but I will say this though. A lot of people were thinking that it was Bradley Beal who was not going to last.
Right.
Because he had a lot of those stress reactions. So I think that, the Wizards have to take that into consideration because I believe that Bradley Beal's minutes are going up drastically. They are increasing game by game. Mm-hmm. And you have to a certain extent, protect Bradley Beal so that his time is not so, to make up for the fact that they don't have John Wall and they, and that he's kind of relied upon so much that they're increasing his minutes to a point where he starts coming back and he's injured. So I think that as an organization, they have to watch that too. What do you say?
Yeah, and I think that also plays into the Capital City Go-Go. The last game that I was at, the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, Scott Brooks had mainly all players that came from the G League out there. He had McCray out there. He had Randall. I think Thomas Bryant was out there. But all so I think that they're going to be utilizing definitely Capital City a lot more. And those players are ready. Like they're about to go to the playoffs, and they've gone on winning streaks. They've dominated high level teams in the G League, and so I think we'll see a lot more of those players.
Yeah, I think so. And they didn't Gary Payton Jr.
Yeah.
You were right.
Gone.
Yeah, you guys could talk about that because Gary Payton was on the Wizards team, right?
Yeah, I mean he was playing well. He played a couple games with Capital City, and I saw him get called up to the Wizards, and I was like, okay, he's gonna play, and then he just
that 10-day contract. They were like, okay, we're gonna get somebody else.
But even with that, I thought he was going to, because he was part of that comeback with the Cavs, along with Jordan McRae, and it
that
also
30-point comeback.
30-point comeback.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
That incredible run that the Wizards went on to close that gap because the Cavs were beating us.
But it also speaks to the the Capital City Go-Go as well. Scott Brooks and Joe Christian. They were in Oklahoma City, and just the fact that he'll have talk about Coach Christian, have the players ready for Scott Brooks. It says a lot about that team, and even though they're in their first season, it's like churning out. They're way ahead of schedule.
They are ahead of schedule. If you haven't gone to a Capital City Go-Go game, you're missing out.
Yeah.
You are really missing out because I was shocked the other day. First of all, you're super close to the action, right, Lawrence? Weren't you kind of shocked by that experience? Like, wow, I didn't expect it to be that we were going to be that close to the action. Yeah. But that's a really different type of stadium, a lot closer, up close and personal with the players, a lot more fun I feel like you get to see a little bit more than you hear what the coaches are saying to the players. I mean, you just
made a joke about a player from the Salt Lake City Stars. We heard him say, "Give feed the ball." We heard him say it.
Like, yes.
That's how close you are to the people.
I think it's cool. You could actually drive there and park your car.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Parking is great right there on the sports and entertainment complex, right?
Entertainment and sports arena.
Sports and entertainment arena. I need to get that right because props would be like arena.
ESA.
Entertainment and sports arena in Congress Heights in Southeast, right on like the campus of St. Elizabeth's over there. So that was really a lot of fun. I saw them on Friday night. That's when I saw you guys. And they won that game.
Yeah.
Despite being down by, what were they down by?
They came back.
They were up 24, and then they came all the way back.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna happen.
I mean, I didn't expect them to. I didn't think that like the team, the Salt Lake City Stars. That's another go-go team. I did not expect them to be able to close that gap in the second half. In the first half, the Capital City Go-Go were up by 20 or so points, and then in the second half, they started playing. They tightened up their defense. I was shocked that team could do that because that team was looking a little
shaky.
A little shaky to me. And then I started looking up their record. I was like, damn, their record is almost the same as the Go-Go.
Like 17-16 having it.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. They ain't slouches now. They're just having a
bad night.
Bad moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just having like a bad moment. So I was like, oh, okay.
But I do think that team is made. I mean, I'm not trying to be biased, but I feel like it did make the G League a little more fun to watch because even with like Devin Robinson, like he made a lot of Sports Center top 10s.
Did
and
he?
People were people were
that's
at him.
wonderful. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he made a couple of them, and the fact that some of them are kind of going to the Wizards and kind of getting out there, it's like, oh, where did they come from? They came from here. And I think that should hopefully open up a little bit for the G Leagues, kind of like people look at them more just in case call-ups happen.
Yeah, and you know what? I think people really need to understand that the G League players, there's a lot more than people realize.
That are in the
NBA.
Yeah.
Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
He came from there. Giannis. Giannis. Yes.
I know his brother's in there right now.
Yeah, his brother's in the league now.
Yeah, Giannis came from the G League. There's a whole rack because I wrote down the names just so I could remember. I was like, oh my God, not all these people came from the G League. I wish I could find it, but all these guys, I think I wrote the list. Oh, yeah, that's right. Eric Bledsoe from the Bucks.
Yeah.
The Jazz, Rudy Gobert, Pistons, Reggie
Jackson,
Jackson, Rockets, Clint Capella came from the G League. Thomas Bryant from the Wizards, Spurs.
Danny Green, that's what I was trying to think
Danny
of.
Green came from the G League. Rockets, Gerald Green, Hawks, Jeremy Lin, Hassan Whiteside from the Heat came
It was
from
somebody
there.
from the Spurs too. I forgot his name. I think he paid money to try out for the G League.
He did. He borrowed. Pops was telling us last week. Yeah, I forgot his name. But he was telling us last week that he borrowed like $150 from his mother, and he told her it was for what were you saying?
Jonathan Simmons.
Yes, Jonathan Simmons. Yes, yep. He was definitely come. So people need to go out and support their local sports. Semi-professional sports because people are really trying to get a break and they're trying to get an opportunity, and the more that you can have some level of interaction with the community just kind of increases and the energy and the effort, and it just helps people get ahead in life. So I really would recommend, and it's a fun night out to bring your kids. It's a lot of fun. I would recommend everybody to go to that arena.
And the tickets are really affordable. So
They're very affordable.
they
and
are
the
so
seats are
cheap,
good,
and
like
the
we were saying.
seats are great. You're gonna be right there, up close and personal, for like $10.
Right.
Oh, I just want to say,
Right?
Jared. I had to look up his name. I forgot his name.
Who?
Jairus Lyles played for
Yeah, I was gonna say,
UMBC.
yep.
He was on the team that beat Virginia.
Virginia last year.
Last
Yeah.
year.
Knocked off that number 1 seed.
So a lot of people came out to see him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's a good thing too. You know, that's also good for G Leaguers that are from the area. I mean, Jerry Styles is from Marlboro, very small.
Yes.
And you know, they
Right.
had a lot of large UMBC crowd in Maryland.
Yes.
So it's really good, you know, to support. You need to support them.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's excellent. That's wonderful. Well, guys, you know, just real quick, let's talk about Mystics real quick. Just tell us what's going on, anything going on. What can we look for? Because they made it all the way to the finals last year.
They did.
They had a tough battle, though. I mean,
It's hard to stop Sue Bird and Brianna
Sue
Stewart.
Bird and oh, Lord.
It's hard to stop them.
That's the Golden State of the WNBA right there.
Definitely. Oh, at some point it was the Lynx, but now it's them.
Yeah.
But,
So what can we look for real quick with the Mystics?
yeah. They re-signed Natasha Cloud.
Okay.
They re-signed Latoya Sanders.
Okay.
So
who's
those
gonna
are
be
two.
the 4 with them this year?
I'm not sure. It
Oh, okay.
might have to be Elena.
Oh, okay.
No.
Wait a minute. She played for last year. No,
She
you
played
know what
for
I was
last
talking
year.
about? Emma Messerman. Who's
she's
going to
gonna
take
be the
hers?
5.
She's coming back.
Coming back.
Oh,
She's
good.
gonna be the 5.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay.
Yeah,
So
her
they're going to
coming
have
back.
a 5 this year.
That
Okay.
is just like last year is going to be a good problem to have for them.
Yes. Because
and
that
they
was
also,
too much on Elena Deladon. It was too much
after
work.
because after she got hurt against the Dream in the playoffs, it was kind of like, but
Yeah.
they're gonna have a good problem to have again this year. And the fact that Coach Tebow drafted Ariel Atkins that nobody really knew about from Texas. I mean, I saw her, I knew her, but the fact that he took a risk and drafted her 7.
Right.
And then she ended up being the only rookie on like the first team,
Right.
our first team. So
Okay.
Coach knows what he's doing.
He
So
knows,
I tweeted out yesterday. I said the Mystics are gonna win it all. I said don't at me, but I think
I believe it.
I think so.
They made tremendous progress because the year before they made it to the semifinals also against the Lynx. The second year they made it to the finals. So they could.
They're
they could do it.
Yeah, they're doing well. Tell everybody how they can reach out to you, your website again before we go.
Yeah, so my website is through the Penn Sports, THROUGH, the Penn Sports, PEN. My Twitter, Jasmine, JASMIND, D_Brown, and my Instagram is JDannyMedia.
Okay, and yes, Brianna, yes, tell us all about real quick.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Vids by Bree. That's VIDSBYBRE. And you can also follow the show that I produce, Angie Ange in the Morning, Angie Ange AM on all social media platforms.
Yes, excellent. And I will see you guys in that mad rush down there at the Go-Go or the Washington Wizards.
Go-Go plays tonight, too.
They playing right now.
Yeah,
they're playing
They're
now.
playing in about 14 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. 14 minutes. Hey, guys, in light of the fact that we lost James Ingram last week, right after my show, I learned that he had passed. So in light of that, I just wanted to end my song with 100 Ways because it's all about women today for Black History Month. So don't forget, each and every Tuesday, 6 p.m., Alina 7. I'm right here. So tune in next week. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do special for Black History Month continues. Don't forget your history because it gives you some level of direction as to where you need to go. We'll see you guys next week. Bye. Enjoy your song, Alina 7. I'm out. Later. Thank you, guys.